Imagine this. You're in Paris, it's freezing cold late at night, you're trying to get a taxi, waving your arm off, but nothing. Just empty streets. Super frustrating.
Oh, definitely. Been there.
Well, for two guys back in 2008, that exact moment, that same frustration, it sparked this idea. So simple on the surface, but wow, it turned out to be incredibly disruptive.
Yeah, an idea that basically reshaped how we get around cities, created a whole new type of work for millions.
Exactly. Just hailing a ride with your phone. That little idea grew into Uber, a company that, hit this staggering $82 billion valuation at one point.
But not without some major bumps. Huge scandals, a massive public backlash. It's quite the story.
It really is. So in this deep dive, we're going to unpack that journey. Uber's incredible, often really controversial path.
Yeah, we'll look at how it went from this tiny startup, UberCab, to a global giant. We'll dig into the strategies, the big mistakes too, and what we can all learn from it.
What made it blow up despite the odds? And importantly, what lessons are in there for anyone interested in business, innovation, or just how the world works now?
Okay, let's get into it. The story really kicks off, like you said, Paris, 2008, Travis Kalanick and Garrett camp. They're stuck, can't find a cab.
And these weren't just average guys. Kalanick had already sold his company, Red Swoosh, for like $19 million. Camp founded StumblePwn, sold it to eBay. So they knew tech.
Right. They understood how tech could solve these real-world headaches. They weren't just annoyed. They saw a systemic problem.
That frustration wasn't just a passing thing. It was the seed.
Totally. They weren't just thinking, let's get a taxi. They were thinking, let's fix taxi hailing. So UberCab gets founded in 2009. Camp was CEO first, Kalanick more of an advisor initially.
And the first launch, San Francisco 2010. Pretty basic stuff back then, right?
Yeah. Simple app, just a few fancy black cars, expensive, and definitely operating in this legal gray zone big time.
So the question is, why did it even work back then with all those limits? What was the magic ingredient?
Well, timing. You really can't overstate the timing. Smartphones were exploding.
Right. Everyone was starting to get one.
Exactly. People were getting used to apps for everything. Convenience,
Yeah.
on-demand stuff. The phone was becoming universal. People were ready.
Okay, that makes sense. But the real game changer, the big pivot, that came later, didn't it? With UberX.
Yes, 2012, UberX. That's when it went from niche luxury thing to, well, everything.
Because that's when regular people could start driving their own cars.
Precisely. It wasn't just about rides anymore. It was the birth of the gig economy, really. This whole system of independent contractors, on-demand work, it changed the game.
But predictably, massive controversy followed. Taxi companies, regulators, they freaked out.
Oh, absolutely. They saw it as this huge, unregulated threat. It was old guard versus new tech playing out on the streets.
Yeah, I remember the protests, the legal fights everywhere, cities trying to ban them. It felt like constant warfare.
It really did. But the thing is, customers loved it. The convenience, the price sometimes, that demand, just fueled insane growth.
Insane is the word. By 2015, like 3 years after UberX, they were in hundreds of cities, dozens of countries.
Over 300 cities, 60 countries, valuations soaring past $50 billion. On its way to that $82 billion IPO number, just seemed unstoppable.
Their whole approach during that time was kind of wild, wasn't it? That ask forgiveness, not permission thing.
Definitely. Super aggressive. That's how they got into so many markets so fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, it meant constant legal battles, getting banned places.
Huge costs. And the taxi drivers felt it was totally unfair, right? No regulations. None of the old rules applied to Uber.
That was the core argument. Unfair competition. Uber didn't have the same licensing hurdles, the expensive medallions. None of it.
And meanwhile, Kalanick takes over as CEO in 2010, and the company gets this reputation, not just aggressive in business, but internally too. That whole bro culture narrative started taking hold.
Yeah, reports started surfacing. Sexism, hyper-competitive environment, basically ignoring professional norms. It wasn't just internal anymore. It started affecting their image. And then 2017 hit. That was just a dumpster fire year for them.
Right. What happened then? It was a lot at once.
A whole cascade. Public accusations of sexual harassment, discrimination, then the big lawsuit from Waymo, Google's self-driving car company, saying Uber stole trade secrets.
Ooh, that's major.
Huge. And then the Grayball scandal broke. This software they apparently used to dodge law enforcement in cities where they weren't supposed to be operating.
Wow. So just scandal after scandal, the reputation took a massive hit.
Severely damaged. Public trust eroded. Serious questions about their ethics, their leadership, it all came crashing down.
Which led to Kalanick having to step down, right? June 2017, forced out by investors.
Yep, the board and investors basically said, enough. It was a huge moment. Showed that even a super innovative, fast-growing company can't just ignore major cultural and ethical problems forever.
A real turning point. They needed someone different.
Urgently. We needed stability, someone more corporate maybe, someone to fix the mess. That's when Dara Khosrowshahi came in.
From Expedia. He
Yep.
had a good reputation, right?
Very respected. Came in August 2017. Totally different approach. Measured, experienced. His job was stabilize things, fix relationships with regulators, and tackle that toxic culture head on.
It's a great lesson, isn't it? Innovation gets you far, but you need a different kind of leadership for the long haul, for sustainability.
Absolutely. But even with Khosrowshahi trying to clean house, the IPO wasn't exactly smooth sailing.
Right, May 2019, that huge $82 billion valuation. But the stock price, it kind of stumbled out of the gate, didn't it?
It did. Fell below the IPO price pretty quickly, which was surprising for such a hyped-up tech IPO back then.
Why do you think that was? Such a big name, huge valuation.
I think investors were getting skeptical.
Mm.
Uber had prioritized growth, crazy growth, over actually making money for so long. They were still losing billions.
Ah, okay. So the market was starting to say, show us the profits, not just the growth.
Exactly.
Right.
The narrative was shifting. People wanted to see a clear path to profitability, and maybe they just didn't see it clearly enough with Uber yet.
Then, boom, 2020, COVID hits. That must have been terrifying for a ride-sharing company.
Existential threat, pretty much.
Yeah.
Lockdowns everywhere, ride demand just evaporated overnight. They had massive layoffs. A real crisis moment.
But crises can also force change, right?
And that's exactly what happened. It highlighted how crucial adaptation is. While rides tanked, Uber Eats exploded.
Oh, yeah, everyone was ordering food delivery.
Constantly. So Uber Eats became this lifeline almost. Showed their agility, the value of having diversified. They shifted focus, shifted resources. It was a smart, necessary pivot.
So looking ahead now, they're still betting big on self-driving cars, autonomous vehicles.
Yep, that's still a big part of the long-term vision. Cut down operational costs, drivers, etc. But it's tough. That Waymo lawsuit showed the challenges, and the tech itself is still incredibly complex.
It's fascinating, though. They're still pushing that envelope, even after getting burned a bit.
Well, that's disruption, isn't it? It's rarely a straight line, full of legal, technical, even ethical hurdles. Makes you think, how much risk is too much for an idea?
So wrapping this all up, what are the big takeaways here for someone listening, maybe running a business or just curious? Uber changed everything about getting around cities, spawned the gig economy.
Yeah, and those debates about worker rights, employment models, they're still raging. But the lessons from Uber's journey are pretty stark.
Okay, lesson one.
Disruption has consequences. That aggressive ask forgiveness style. It worked for growth, sure. But this backlash, the legal fights, the reputation damage, massive cost. You got to weigh that boldness against the long-term fallout.
Right. Lesson two.
Culture is everything. Seriously, that toxic culture under Kalanick, it wasn't just bad PR. It led to his exit, lost talent, took years to even start fixing.
Yeah.
Your internal environment can make or break you.
Makes sense. What's next?
3, you can't just ignore regulators. Fighting them constantly, like Uber often did, leads to endless, expensive battles. Working with them, or at least strategically engaging, is often the smarter path to stable growth.
Okay, number 4. Seems obvious, but maybe not always practiced.
Profitability matters. Growth at all costs looks great for a while, but eventually, investors want to see the money. As the IPO showed, if there's no clear path to profit, people get nervous. Growth is vanity, profit is sanity, as they say.
Yeah. Okay, final lesson.
Adapt or die. Simple as that. Uber's pivot to Uber Eats during COVID, that saved them. Markets change, crises happen. If you can't adapt, you won't survive. Agility is key.
So Uber's story, it's this incredible example of innovation's power, how it can reshape the world, but it also shows the huge responsibility that comes with that power.
Absolutely.
It leaves you wondering, doesn't it? For any venture, big or small, how do you find that balance between pushing boundaries, being disruptive, and doing it responsibly, ethically?
That's the million-dollar question, or maybe the $82 billion question in this case.
Something to definitely think about. We'll leave you with that thought until our next deep dive.